here again. It's I don't know how my voice is sounding here. Let me check my voice. Check which um, which input is the laptop using to get my voice. So I am back here again. It's August the 4th and 14:45. Yeah, so I felt like I have to do this live, talking about this event from July of 30th. So when I woke up on this day, July of 30th, after uh, so yeah, and after some hours, perhaps after within an hour of waking up, I went out to get the to get some milk, as I usually have it in the morning. And then on my way, I found my middle brother come walking on that same road, and he asked me that what was cooked for breakfast. And then it actually shocked me a bit because I did not cook breakfast for for anyone at home. But as soon as I would wake up, I would just go and get milk and my coffee and with a bun or some bread or some kind of snack, some kind of packaged snack. That is what I had been doing for some days. Instead of tea, I began to have cold coffee. So I told him that um, I did not. He already knew that I don't cook breakfast. So even then he's asking me. So I told him that I don't exactly recall what I answered, but he kept walking aside. He kept walking towards the shop. So he began to walk, and I was getting a bit irritated because his behavior had not been good for some time. He had been acting in ways, in yeah, incorrect ways, hinting towards incest. So that is why I did not feel so good. And I asked him to walk with me, and he said that I would do not. Yeah, and then we reached the shop. When we reached the shop, I got my milk and perhaps a packet of bun. And then the uncle that was there in shop, he shouted from inside the shop that I had to take my brother with me. So I did not understand. I went back in and asked what had happened. And he told me that he was actually thrown out of home. That's why he was sitting there. I didn't know about that. I asked my brother if that was true. He said yes, that I had thrown him out of the home in the morning. In the morning, and he had also. Oh yeah. So I I asked him to call him back and say that he would begin to search for a job and that he cannot leave unless he has a job. And until he has a job, he cannot leave home or he cannot be thrown out. Now I'm having my cold coffee even now. This is the tumbler. It was a travel tumbler that I got from Port Existence. It had a lid as well, black lid. But when we shifted from our previous home to this home, the lid got closed, or I did not see it here. Any like since we shifted here, I did not see the lid here. The last time I see it, that was in the last one uh, in OMAX NCR. So yeah, And I bought this mug because this tumbler because ministry the ministry board existence. So the woman, the sister in Christ, the sister who is running the ministry, she walks closely with Jesus, and she hears from him. And God gave her this ministry to steward and to help other brothers and sisters with different courses and different kinds of support. So that is why I got this mug, and that's why I'm using it now. Yeah, that's a good topic that I So, talking about the event on July 30th, uh, he told me, my little brother told me that my dad had taken his phone away from him and also broke his earphones and then threw him out. I asked him why did he do that. He did not reply properly, but I knew that um, most likely it was because he was not working a job. I asked him to be serious about the saying that his the his dad's behavior and our dad's behavior was not going to be any different until he found a job and he began to work. Now he is not yet filed a complaint for the drug situation around me. I don't know where they are in our house, where else they are, but inside my body they are there, and when I use the washroom they are there, and then they keep moving inside my clothes. They're also perhaps inside the streets on the watching from near the ceiling, I'm not sure, around something around me. Yeah, so I wanted to buy something for my brother that day on July 30th as he was sitting in the shop. But I was still talking, and the thought of buying milk for him, it just stayed milk and bread for him. It just stayed inside my mind as everyone was busy talking about something. And um, yeah, so and then he left the shop, and while he was walking at some distance, then I told him that he could buy something from the shop, but but he didn't listen. He didn't listen, and then he took a left to the street to the street that went further into the Rose Valley society. So, and then he said that he was leaving and that I shouldn't be filing a complaint. That to which I replied that I was going to file a complaint against both him and my father he because my father threw him out when my little brother was unemployed, and he even took his phone away. So how would we track him down? But how would we talk to him? And then my middle brother was not ready to work a job or not be serious about being independent when he is now approaching late 40s, no, late 20s. He's 4 years younger than me. He did not show a serious attitude about working a job or being independent or even doing one's own his own work. Uh, yeah, even being interested in doing his own work. So did not seem interested in that, did not show that. So that is why I said that I was just going to file a complaint against both of them because one was not ready to do his own work or search for a job, the other was throwing, uh, throwing him out um, because why after taking his phone away when he was unemployed and did not have a job. So after that, so when my brother listened to that, he turned back and walked towards me, and then we were walking together to the not really together as in we were walking together side by side, but we were now in the same way. And then we reached near the home, and then we took a left again from the neighbor's home, and he was saying that no one is going to listen to my complaint, and no one cared about my complaint. Uh, but my complaint actually didn't matter, is no one is going to listen to it. Then I went, he left, and he left on that road, and I went back inside home. I thought perhaps he would return. But then after some time, I was worried because he did not even have a phone. And I had a dream from last year when we were staying in the other building in this same way. So in that dream, my little brother was shown as a toddler, a very innocent toddler, wearing a sky blue, light sky blue T-shirt, and she was shown as a plum child, as a plum toddler with hair neatly combed sideways and sticking to his head, and he was carrying a light smile, and he was holding kindergarten, that Kinder Joy in his hand. And in that dream, uh, towards the end of that dream, and then he had gone downstairs. So it was the dream had us in the roof of the other building in the same lane. And then he went down using a lift. He had to go. And then he took an auto, and in that auto was a slim girl, very slim girl, and I was also there. And he was talking to the slim girl, and I was listening to him saying some things to her. Like I was only observing them. And 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 then I had um, and then the auto dropped me. Auto kept going on for long on a road where we had trees on both ends, perhaps a few shops on one of the sides, and there wasn't much of residential area visible. And then after some time, so after a long time of traveling like that, the auto dropped us at a place, or dropped me at a place wherein I entered another building, a different building, which was apparently the building of the school, but it was shown as a bigger building. And apparently, my brother left for the bus stand. So from that point on, I did not know that, but when I entered into that building, school building, and okay, so when I entered, I went to perhaps the first floor or the second floor, most likely it was the first floor. I saw two huge bottles of carpet stand on two sides, two. So there were two huge bottles, one here and one there, one on the left side, one on the right side. Now I don't know why they were standing, why they were bought and kept there as a showpiece. It looked like they were kept as a showpiece. And so I looked at those bottles. It looked like so a lot of um, so that it looked like my dad had bought those huge carpet bottles. They were perhaps this tall, this tall from the floor this tall. I'm sitting on a chair. They were perhaps yeah this tall, and so must be having a lot of toilet cleaner. I'm not sure if it was carpet or some other toilet cleaner, but it was a toilet cleaner with a blue bottle. The toilet cleaner with a blue bottle. And then yeah, so there were two such this tall bottles of toilet cleaner. And then I got to know when I inquired from someone, they told me that my brother had gone, that my brother had left for bus stop. And when I looked to my right, so on there was a narrow corridor, and On the right side of that corridor were rooms. There was a room out of which two slim girls came out, one after the other, and they were looking in my direction. So they they came out. I'm not sure if they were looking in my direction, but when the third girl came out, she was a uh, she was a fat girl. She was fatter than the other two. The other two were slimmer. They were slim and lean and slim. The third one was dressed in a frock-like dress. It was a white dress, and her hair were frizzy and neckline, and her face was also round. And she was wearing the white frock-like dress with pink dot with green dots. Sorry, not pink, with green dots on with pink dots on it. And I asked them something, but they were not answering it properly. But I understood that they did not actually know about it. So you see, towards the end of the stream, uh, I saw myself back in that room of the other building in this lane, where the dream had begun with me and my younger brother, shown as a toddler dressed in light sky blue t-shirt. So I will continue uh, in the next video. So until then, praise God, and I am so I'm happy to have this not whole existence. I'm relaxing with having this cold coffee. It reminds me of the fact that the sister who runs this is actually a serious foreigner. Yeah, so I will be back on that and I will talk about the rest of the day when my brother was out.